My name is Wardell Milan. I'm originally from Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. Grew up there, went to undergraduate school at the University of Tennessee, and then did my graduate studies at Yale for photography. I oftentimes think of my work as like these visual narratives, and then in my dioramas, I definitely try to create like a narrative. It's probably, well, sometimes it's a linear narrative that happens within the scenes, but most oftentimes they're very like non-linear. So, you know, from writers from like Tennessee Williams to Alice Walker to James Baldwin, like just reading their narratives and some of their storytelling, you know, this inspires bodies of work, and sometimes I want to try to visualize for myself their words. So with the boxing series that I've been working on for a number of years, originally was inspired from the book Invisible Man and the scene in that book, the Battle Royale. And so that scene and thinking about the character and his placement in that narrative, and wanting to visualize that scene for myself, wanting to create like that moment, and you know that initial interest, this kind of snowballed into this larger body of work that is now removed from the book. Like now the boxing collages and the drawings you know, it's a different thing conceptually, but it always goes back to the book. It was all, you know, inspired or originated from the narrative. When I started this series, I was using a book called The Fight, and tearing out the pages from this photographic book by the photographer Charles Huff. And so he was a photographer during the 40s, 50s, and 60s, so he, you know, photographed all of these great fights of that time. And I was, you know, interested in you know, first the photographs themselves, and then I just became interested in using this book as like my own canvas. So that's kind of where those images for the collages, you know, they came from. But now when I make the drawings, I use like all references from all over the place, from contemporary images and photographers to, you know, I still go back to and use images from his book. So yeah, so from all over the place. Dioramas, I mean, they're three-dimensional constructions, and then I photograph them and then show them as a, you know, as a two-dimensional object. And I've never been interested in showing the actual construction, but I like the idea of creating these spaces, and creating these moments that would never exist, like creating a moment where I'm in the same space as I don't know, Basquiat. So creating these worlds and these moments in time that would never exist. But I do like the idea of creating like these three-dimensional spaces and inserting like objects and people into them for them to kind of inhabit. And I've been making, you know, when I was young, I was making cardboard cities for my Matchbox cars, and my parents gave me one of the rooms to the house to use as a studio space, and even then I was making like these, you know, these cardboard paper constructions, and I had like He-Man figures and cars that inhabited these constructions. So I've been making like dioramas since I was 6. So I'm doing the same thing I was doing as a child. Nothing has changed. Well, a little has changed.